Uh, I know it would be great if we stay together probably another, it's probably going to be about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Then we can empty the room so they can set up the room for our gala. But we have an exciting participants in this panel, which I noticed there's a lot of, we have many startups actually that we can get some insight as to why to do that in California and actually talk to some of the investors in California about that as well. So with that, I wanted to kind of ask you guys about, story of creation, how you guys started, and then ask you some specific questions as well. So Sajid, if you want to go ahead.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for hosting this wonderful event. And I appreciate the people here that are rallied till the end, almost the end.
Almost.
Yeah. So I'm with a company called Nisum. We're a technology consulting firm. We specialize in kind of all things digital. So most of our clients are Fortune 100 to 500 type organizations, and we build their digital capabilities. And of course, increasingly, a lot of artificial intelligence capabilities. So why California? Why has that worked? On the one hand, it's a matter of pragmatism, and the other is it's where the market's at. We've heard a lot of great things today about how big of a market California is, how much economic activity there is here, and that has really been important for us in terms of driving our growth. So we've been around for 24 years, so we're not fresh out the gates, and we've seen a lot of success in California. We have globally about 2,000 people, but about 500 of those folks are here in California. So in terms of the pragmatic reason of being here, the founders are here. They were part of leading tech organizations in the late 90s and started up their new company here, actually in Brea, not too far from here. And over time, the reason that it's been really a great market for us is kind of threefold. One is the type of talent we can attract, right? So top tier talent, great universities, kind of the entire suite of reasons people have been talking about all afternoon, morning and afternoon. And the other is the type of clients that we get to work with. So even if our clients are not headquartered in California, their technology groups, at least the most innovative and cutting edge parts of their technology orgs, are usually here, right, in the Bay Area typically. So we're able to work with them on those types of initiatives, and it really helps us stay ahead and keep them ahead in terms of their business. The work we do for them is really trying to advance their differentiation in the market. And then the third big reason is the type of work we get to do, right? So being in California is very innovative, it's very cutting edge. So that really serves to both points 1 and 2 in terms of talent sourcing and client sourcing. So broadly speaking, that's why.
What are some of the services you guys do? Because you've been around for a long time, obviously. And how did AI actually change that?
Yeah, so a big part of our service offering is building these large custom applications, right? So let's say there's a retailer that has various parts of their e-commerce engine. We'll go in and build that, either a content system, a promotion system, all the hundreds of applications behind the scenes that go off when you are maybe buying a T-shirt online or what have you, or buying groceries that get delivered to your house. So for us, so we build that, we design those, we help them with their technology roadmap. All of these elements have a piece that has been impacted by artificial intelligence. So we are building more with AI tools. We're also solving for business use cases with AI, meaning marketing automation or in terms of search capabilities when you go onto a website, so on and so forth. So there's what's transformative about AI through a business lens, that it helps the top line, right, is revenue generating, and it helps the bottom line, right? So it's helping with the profitability. So any business leader is looking at how we can leverage that in those two dynamic ways.
anything that you think that the government can do to help for you to grow more in California?
Well, I think there's a whole lot that the government can certainly do. I think providing the scaffolding, right, for this type of an ecosystem. A lot of it was discussed earlier, and I think really it's building infrastructure, allowing for a way to create ethics, considerations, and regulation around AI, but at the same time letting the technology evolve in ways that are going to be dynamic. I think one of the best things government can probably do is what many folks here are doing, getting smart on it and understanding how we can stay ahead of it, because, or at least on par with it, because it is obviously moving fast and it's transformative, right? Like the individual said, it's the genie's out of the bottle. So we need to embrace it in a way that's going to allow us to move ahead in faster ways.
Ahmed, going back to you, if you start a little about your company as well, and how you started.
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmed Mirza. I am an investor at Techstars. For those of you not familiar, Techstars is the largest pre-seed investment firm in the world. We've invested in 4,000 companies worldwide and continue to increase our investments year over year. I kind of come at venture investing. I was a former founder. I've built 2 startups. Haven't had a big exit just yet, but I did have a soft landing with one. And then I was a venture builder for a number of years. My claim to fame is that I built 7 companies in the span of 3 years. Everything from SaaS, robotics, metaverse, when that was cool, to a bunch of other different applications. So I've seen, sort of all different parts of, the startup journey, what it takes to bring a product to market, and that's sort of what informs my, investment thesis and investment direction with Techstars.
What do you look for in this day and age, basically? What is the strategy based on the economy, both domestically as well as, what are you looking for as far as companies you want to invest in right now?
Yeah, for me, it really comes down to, I think, 2 simple things. First thing is, I really want to find companies and founders that are solving a real problem. A lot of times, we come across founders and startup companies that, think that they have a company and think that they're solving a need, but they haven't done enough work in terms of understanding the market, understanding the customers that they're selling into, really understanding all the different elements of that market, and crystallizing a very clear value proposition to their end user. So I'm trying to find actual businesses that are solving real problems, making things more efficient, removing fragmentation in the market. But yeah, so it starts with that, and then of course a big part of where I look at, which is the early stage of venture, where we don't have very much data, we don't have a lot of numbers to go off of. We're investing in the team, right? We're investing in people. We have to believe that it's, not only are they likable people, but also that they're the right team building something great in a great market.
And that was kind of my question as well. Are you looking at, because sometimes we look at a company and you say, okay, this is a really great product, but the management, really can't work with.
Yeah.
Is it the horse or the jockey that you kind of evaluate, and what is the strategy you look for?
Yeah, it goes in tandem, but for us, specifically at Techstars, we're investing in people. It's the earliest stage, the ideas, and we invest in sort of idea companies that have products in market that are generating some sort of revenue.
Proof of concept.
They have a proof of concept. They're already, getting that customer feedback to make the product better. But we want to make sure that the people behind it have some sort of either domain expertise, they have some experience in the marketplace, they're quick thinkers and quick movers. So many founders I meet are hesitant to take action and move the ball. A hallmark of a great founder, of a great entrepreneur, is the ability to assess the marketplace, make a decision, and get to that next decision point. So we look for sort of founders that are willing to move fast and get to that next step.
Are you more of a hands-on type of investor? Is it
Yeah.
more passive? Are you looking for board seats or?
Yeah, so luckily for us, no, we're not, you know, I wouldn't call myself a vulture capitalist, which is, you know, maybe in the public out there. No, so our terms are pretty standard. They're very founder friendly. We pride ourselves on working with founders, on being of service to them. It's pretty common, 6% stake that we take in each of our investments. We invest at the pre-seed stage. And, you know, no board seats. We just want to help founders with whatever traction that they can achieve in our accelerator program. So whether that's business development, whether that's investor introductions, whatever that may be, that's how we get hands-on.
And any industry specific, or are you agnostic, more opportunistic?
Yeah. So I invest in 48 companies a year. So I'm a very active investor. And I cover probably 4 or 5 different industries in general, but 2 that in particular that stick out. One being space. So I invest in, you know, aerospace and space companies. And then the second one being healthcare. So anything that's targeting enterprise healthcare between payers, providers, health systems as a whole, that's where my focus is largely.
Okay. And are you guys using your company as well for management, or any complementary type businesses together, or no?
M&I?
Yeah.
Well,
based on the SaaS proven concept,
yeah.
that you guys use you as a technical advisor or something.
No, not formally.
He doesn't return my phone.
The vulture capitalist in him won't won't you know, give me the equity I'm looking for. But no, but it's very helpful, right? So the type of model that Techstars have, and this is where I think it's really important to think through what kind of venture capital models a startup is going through, and if you're a startup, what types of terms you're getting. Because coming out of a Techstars, as we're looking at organizations, so we do invest in companies a little bit later on down the road, or we'll acquire companies that have come through programs like Techstars. It's important and attractive when an organization hasn't been completely diluted in terms of their cap table, and they have founders and investors that kind of understand that ecosystem really well. So from that standpoint, I think Techstars does a really great job.
And focus is California right now, or does it matter, or from presence standpoint?
Yeah, so generally we take in founders from all around the world. What I will say though is that California, we ask them to move to California for the duration of the program. So we run an accelerator program, it's 13 weeks long. We tell, you know, and coach startup founders how to build their startup. So we're bringing in, you know, people from Google, we're bringing in people from other large, you know, organizations, technology companies, really coaching them and giving them hands-on mentorship on how to build their companies the right way. So for the duration of the program, they move to California. And then what I would say is that a lot of them then stay in California because of the benefits. There's a large engineering and talent pool here, specifically in Southern California, but generally, broadly across the entire state. There's a lot of investment capital here. So I think it was mentioned earlier. For every $1 in the US that is fundraised or venture-backed, 50% of that, 50 cents of that, is in California. Yep. And for early stage company building, it is critical to be near pools of capital because that is what ignites the flame, right? Like you have to grow your company, you have to scale, especially if you're building a venture-backed business, and capital is a key part of that.
Plus you got the large economy here in California as audience.
Yeah, and I think there's also a lot of signaling and credentialing that happens, right? So if you're a startup from California, it becomes a part of your ethos as a company to be innovative and to be disruptive. And that has impacts when you're going to market in terms of how you focus on the customer, and also as you're trying to attract more talent, right? So for us, when we're attracting talent in Latin America, where we have, you know, a couple offices, or Asia, it makes a big difference that we're a California-based organization. On the other side of this, we're working with a lot of, as I said, large organizations in terms of them being our clients. And so just in terms of data points, organizations in 2024 that are innovative and looking ahead, again, a lot of these in California are investing somewhere between 2 to 5% of their project budgets on generative AI. So that's different than if you go into other markets where that number starts getting smaller, and they might still be in that phase of just skunkworks, POCs, really outside of the core. So I think these types of things are indicative of what type of value and innovation and ethos is brought into the mix when you're in this state.
It does. Do you guys also work, like we look at some of the tech transfer offices of different research universities like UCI and UCLA, UCSD. Have you worked with them as well, licensed some projects?
Yeah, so we don't license the technologies or the IP directly from those organizations, but a lot of times there are individuals, primarily students at those universities, that are looking to commercialize the IP. And the institutions themselves are actually looking for a way to commercialize it, and they bring together startup teams to do that. So we've invested in a few teams that went through UCI and their technology group. I'm still awaiting for one, being a UCLA alum, to get one from UCLA. Haven't found the right one just yet. And we have a few from the rest of the country as well.
Anything else, any other comment for the new startup individuals we have in the audience?
So I think what I'd say is, my team looked at 5,000 companies last year, all early stage, ranging obviously from various stages, some that were just a concept, just an idea, to others that had significant revenue. And out of the 5,000, I'd say probably 3,000, 4,000 of them were quote unquote AI. And I know that's the hot buzzword of the day. That's something that's top of mind for everyone. But the reality is that if you're going to pitch your company as an AI company, you need to understand whether or not you actually have real AI. A recommendation engine, a simple algorithm is not AI. And one of the jobs that I have to do as a VC is to discern and cut through the fluff of what's real, what's not. Is this transformational? Is this creating efficiencies? Is this making people better, faster, smarter? And that is, part of the responsibility. It's also part of the work I do on a day-to-day basis, and trying to understand the landscape as it continues to emerge.
Solving a problem. Are they able to solve problems or not?
Exactly.
So, Sajid, how about yourself?
I say throw AI in everything, make them do hard work. Yeah. I think that goes for businesses and governments as well, right? Don't do AI for the sake of putting AI on the pitch deck or to appease boards that you're focusing on AI. Find the business cases, the actual value opportunities, and pursue the technology for that reason. And there are plenty, as we were talking about earlier. So I think that's kind of the core fundamental. There's too many people going after AI just for the sake of going after AI.
Just because it's like a calculation. So the last 10 minutes, I wanted to see if anybody in the audience, you have some more comment, Per?
Yeah, I think that just kind of spurred a thought is, as AI gets more, popularized within the mainstream, one thing that's become easier for entrepreneurs is to ship and build product, right? So you can quickly build products, ship them to your customers, and try to get some feedback. What's becoming increasingly harder, for a venture-backed startup is getting repeatable distribution to your end user and your end customer. And understanding those dynamics, those metrics, I think are going to be key, for the next decade of startup building. Companies that solve that and figure that out are the ones that are going to win.
Sustainable winning. Exactly. So with that, if anybody has any questions, last 7-10 minutes. Oh, Amir, I think in the back.
Hi, Ahmed, how large is your VC? What's the assets under management?
Yeah, so we have our portfolio's value today is over $100 billion. We've invested in 4,000 companies worldwide, and we run about 50 programs a year. So we make anywhere from 300 to 500 investments worldwide.
I sit on the board of UCLA Anderson, and I seeded the accelerator fund over there, so we should talk. There's a lot of interesting VC opportunities out of that school.
Yeah, absolutely.
So someone this morning asked me about biotech. And, a couple of years ago, everyone was talking about biotech, right? And now nobody talks about biotech. So is it because everyone's investing in AI and they think it's a quick fix? Because obviously bio takes a long time to go through all the trials and approvals.
Yeah, I'd say, there are trends that kind of come and go. Biotech, I think, is so Southern California in particular has a very strong biotech presence. I haven't made any biotech investments. We don't typically look at biotech companies, only because you need to have tons of domain expertise to invest in those sort of moonshots. What I would say is that I think the investments have gone in. They're awaiting the time period to see how those are going to pan out. And then eventually, there will be another boom in a few years investing in new age biotech companies. But in particular, I think some areas in biotech, such as gene therapy, some of those areas are very top of mind.
I think it has to do with exit as well. Before we had exits going through a SPAC or other investment vehicles, going public. So when your exits are not there, the investors are not going to put the money into the opportunity. That's the problem too. Its bottom line is how am I going to get my money back? So.
Yeah, I think it goes to a pretty interesting point, though, that we had biotech, we had obviously blockchain, metaverse, crypto, all these things that were really large hype in the last few years, and some of it will pan out over some period of time, like biotech. But what makes AI a marked shift from all these other things is you can see the impact pretty fast, right? So an organization can have people deploying AI tools like in their software development cycle and pretty quickly start seeing 10% productivity increases, which is a big lift in a matter of, we're talking about 6 months or 12 months. So I think the fact that one of the reasons AI is so unique from everything else that's been happening, at least over the last 10 to 15 years, is the immediacy of the impact, and that's powerful.
To choose an investment, are you using any AI capability or?
So I'm not a 4,000 company investor, but when we are in my day-to-day work managing a digital focused firm, yeah, I'm using AI pretty frequently on a personal basis. And I think that is a really interesting point in that almost every people sometimes ask me, what percentage of organizations are adopting AI? And it's like, actually probably about 100%. Because either you're doing it from a strategic lens, or definitely the people on the ground are using it day in and day out. So increasingly, the answer is an emphatic yes.
Yeah, I'd say for us, we've started deploying AI in our investment review process. But it's kind of in two parts. First, we assess and evaluate the investment on our own individually before employing any sort of artificial intelligence into the process. The reason being is that we're always worried about bias or any other sort of augmentation taking place into our thesis development and our thinking. The second part is one thing that AI can't do. So it's very great, it's programmatic, it can give you a computational score of an investment. But where I'm investing, where there's very few data points, I need to assess the team. And I need to understand who those people are. Are they the people that we want to back and invest? And AI is not good at that. And the only way we can do that is through, obviously, meetings, diligence, talking to the entire management team, talking to customers, understanding their sort of sales pipeline, things of that sort.
So I have a question. How do you source your deals? How do you keep a long-term view with your investment? There are lots of people are VCs, but more like a club, they follow each other. I'd like to see how you distinguish yourself and source your deals and make sure that you are investing for the return on the investment for the long run.
Wait, you're saying VCs don't do critical thinking? I'm joking. No, this is a big part of the problem in VC, which is the essence of what's known as quote-unquote FOMO, the fear of missing out. So if there's a hot deal or hot startup that's about to, that's going around raising investment capital, and they have a term sheet from, let's say, Sequoia Capital or one of the other leading investment firms, they can shop that around, and then other people will say, oh, well, if they're in, then guess what, I'm in. And this is a big problem in VC. I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. This is part of our DNA, our psychology as humans. Social proofing is a big part of that. It's amplified in VC as it comes to investment dollars. The way we source our investments is that we host a bunch of community events throughout the US, and in particular in California. So my focus is in Southern California. I run 3 programs, healthcare, space, and LA. We do events at all the universities, or as many of them as we can get to. We just did an event yesterday in Pasadena targeting the NASA JPL folks, Caltech, Idea Lab. We're doing events, at UCLA, USC. We're on the ground, we're meeting founders and entrepreneurs where they are, building relationships, because that's what we believe will lead to outsized long-term returns.
And with that, just getting ready to empty the room. So
No,
they can
not yet. You actually got
Oh.
one more panel coming up here,
Oh.
guys. So we're going to try to give them
Thank
a
you.
little time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.